Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Welcome to podcast number 14.
Yeah, number 14.
So.
We're
14. I don't know.
14.
It's one of those days. But anyway, today we're going to talk about clearing the clutter.
Mm-hmm.
And not just physical clutter, clearing the energy clutter too,
Yes.
because that's really important.
It's a really big thing, especially with the changing of seasons and everything like that. A lot of people in their houses have a lot of like stagnant energy and different things to move out. And some people are getting sick and things like that. So this is a really good time to clear the energy of your home, of your workspace, of literally anywhere that you spend a lot of time. Your car is a really good place to clear the energy in. So we're going to talk about clearing the energy, clearing the clutter, and just whatever comes up, kind of like we always do on our little SoulSpace podcast.
On our little adventure, weekly adventure. So clearing the clutter, it's something that I like to do as an energy clearing on my home every season. And I usually clear some clutter too, physical clutter, every season too. So it just really helps the energy move forward.
Yes. It feels good. It feels lighter.
Right.
And we're going to talk about several different ways to do that. I know for you, Tracy, you were telling me you were rearranging your living room, and that's a really good way to not only clear your house physically and to clean it out and everything like that, but also energetically to move things around really helps to get that energy moving as well.
And I was amazed how good it felt in my house after I did that. Really good. And it still feels really good in the living room, more spacious, even though it's the same amount of space, same furniture in there, just rearranged. But it really feels airy and light and really good, sparkly.
One thing that's really cool is it's something so simple, can make such a huge difference. And it's not something people always think about when you think about like energy clearing. But it is. Even moving the physical things can clear the energy in the space. And I think it's really good to talk about those simple things that we all can do that are easy. You don't have to be a Reiki master like we are, or an energy practitioner of any kind to move the energy into your home. Simple things like that can make a difference. And so we're going to talk about things that you can do, whether you do work in energy work or not. So that's going to be fun.
It's really a fun thing to do, to change up the energy in your home or your office or wherever, one of the things that I love to do in the seasons, I switch out my clothes. I pack my summer clothes away, which I just did last week. Sad. I don't want summer to end, but today's pretty much like summer outside. Nice. I mowed the lawn with shorts on.
Well, hey, great for October in North Dakota. We're in North Dakota, so we have technically 4 seasons, although winter tends to be more of like 2 / 2.5.
We have
seasons a year.
We kind of have 4 seasons, but one of them takes up 3/4 of the year.
It does.
So anyway, I switch out my clothes, and that always feels really good to, you think, oh, I forgot I had this, and switch them around, and it makes your closet feel good. And then I try to muscle test some of the clothes that I think, oh, I didn't wear this all summer. Why am I going to keep it? I muscle test those things. And if you muscle test a no, holding it to you, I think we talked about muscle testing, didn't we? I don't remember.
I think we very briefly talked about it in our last podcast about crystals and stones, about how to choose them. So about the sway test of forward is positive, negative is back, or yes, no. So
with clothing, if there's something that you haven't worn for a year, is my, you can do it however you want, but this is my kind of general rule of thumb. If I haven't worn it in a year, I'll muscle test it. If it, should I keep this, or is this clothing going to make me feel good? Do I feel good when I wear this? If it's a yes, then I keep it. If it's a no, I put it in the Boys Ranch pile, I have the donate pile. And every season I have 2 or 3 bags of stuff that I can donate. So it's a good rule of thumb to follow. If you ever question anything, always muscle test. It's such a good thing to do to figure things out.
Right. And if you still feel you want to keep it, you feel attached to it, that's fine too.
Right.
Yeah. But if you're not sure, if you're like, I feel like I could let it go, but I'm not sure if it's for me or not,
right.
Then it would be a good time to muscle test.
Yeah.
Because like if you feel strongly about something, follow your guidance.
Yeah, then keep it. I have old t-shirts from college that I just have sentimental value, or from a concert that I went to 20 years ago or whatever, that you just, have a hard time letting go of, and that's right. Okay. Right. Yeah. So, that's one way to declutter your closet. What do you think? What are some good things that you do?
For me, one thing that's really useful physically, if we're talking about physically clearing the clutter, which helps with the energy as well, is organizing. So it's not everybody's cup of tea, but one thing that's really simple that I love to do that's really helped my house feel good is using containment. The idea of containment. This is something that you learn about, if you're into professional organizing and things like that. But what I really like is containment. So different containers. One thing that I loved doing that was really great, that's inexpensive and easy to do, is I use containers in both my stand-up freezer, because we have a large stand-up freezer, I live in the country, and my refrigerator. So I bought like just clear acrylic containers of different shapes and sizes. I really like the ones that are more of like rectangular or square or things like that, or that have tops, so I can stack them and things like that. But what's really great is I can organize everything where it's from, oldest to newest, so that I can make sure all my food is getting rotated. It's easy to pull the container out and see what's in there and put it back. It's easy to stand things up so I can see everything. And it feels really good because it's like everything's so organized, and I can organize it by vegetables and different types of meats and things. So it's like, it's really a nice system to be able to do that. It's easy, it's simple, and it's not expensive to do. And it just feels really good. It creates a really good energy in there. It makes it so you're not digging through piles and things are falling out.
Yeah, you don't have an avalanche
when you open the door. Good when there's an avalanche coming out of your freezer. Right. We all have experienced that.
I do. Yeah, I haven't organized mine yet. That's a good idea. I never thought of that.
Yeah, it feels really good too. And then you're like, oh, I'll just pull this out and see what's in there. Yeah, it feels really, and like I said, it's not an expensive thing either. So if you have the ability to do it, even getting small totes from Walmart or something, you can get 10 of them for $10, right, and even use those as the totes, Yeah. And so
I do that with my craft supplies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Ribbon. I have seasonal ribbons in their containers. Works good.
Right. You can do that in any area of your house. And I have that in my craft room. I have it in my closets. I have it in my refrigerators. But that's something not a lot of people think about, is doing that in your refrigerator.
I never thought about
like your pantry, it works great for your pantry, your food pantry, it works great for shelving, it works great for, but yeah, that for me was one of my favorite things, was doing my refrigerator and freezer. It feels so good because everything has its place and everything can fit, and I know where everything goes.
And you don't forget about what's on the bottom.
Right. And I don't get super freezer burnt food. I can rotate my food, just like, because I did used to work in food service for quite a few years as well, in addition to my other things before I started my career. But that's the one thing that's really important, is food rotation. And why buy the food if it's going to go bad, right? It's going to get super
why waste that money?
So it helps you not waste money as well. So that's another thing that also feels good.
That is good.
Energetically, I'm not wasting any money, and I know where things are.
Right. I love it. Learned something new today.
Yeah. Now I'm gonna go over to Tracy's house and she's like, Krista, look at my freezer.
Yeah. That's good. So yeah, getting rid of the things that aren't serving you anymore. And walk around your house and muscle test things. Maybe you've had this same picture on your wall for 20 years. Do you like it? Do you even notice that it's there? When I rearranged my living room, I brought things, I switched my pictures around, and I do it a lot because I paint and do crafts. So I always am changing my decor for the holidays or different seasonal things. But some things I have in there all the time. So I switched some things up this time when I rearranged, and it was so cool. It felt so good to, oh, I forgot I even had that picture. And really, it's been hanging there forever, but I forgot about it. You don't, when you're in your home every day, you don't see things the same way if they're in the same spot forever. So just switching it up, you can change the whole look of your house by not even buying anything new, just rearranging things. And it feels so good and refreshed, and it makes your home come alive more. So
yeah, even if you love your home how it is, that's great. But even just shifting small things can make a huge difference.
Yeah, it does. It's and it's fun. I love doing rearranging. Yeah, I rearrange a lot, but it's really cool, and it feels so good. So try it.
And one thing also, the addition of rocks.
Yes.
Adding stones and crystals to your space can change the energy in your space also. So if you don't even want to rearrange your space, that's an option. There are quite a few that are really good for clearing the energy or improving the energy. And we talked about some of those last week. Actually, selenite is a beautiful one if you want to clear and improve the energy in a space.
Yeah. So quartz too, or a salt lamp, a selenite lamp. I have two big salt lamps in my living room and one in our bedroom. And that's another thing that really energizes the space that it's in. So, using rocks, put a black tourmaline or obsidian by your modem in your house, and anywhere, like by the TV, anything that gives off a lot of electromagnetic energy, it'll help clear that space, clear that energy out. So rocks are always a good thing. And who doesn't love rocks?
They're beautiful,
right?
As decor. They feel awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, what more do you really want?
Right.
I mean,
yeah.
There's no downside here.
We
love rocks.
Yeah. So that's kind of, a lot of the physical things. You just have to really go through stuff, and if you're having a hard time deciding, do the muscle testing. And some things, are sentimental. You keep them in a box in your closet. Go through that stuff every once in a while too, because you'll whittle it down. I used to keep everything my kids drew or worksheets or everything they brought home for me, and after a few years, I'm like, I can't keep boxes and boxes of kids' stuff, so then I go through and keep a couple things from each grade or whatever. And, and then eventually you do it again. And hey, do you want this when they move out and have their own home? Do you want this? You can take that home with you now,
Right.
And I still keep a couple things, but not like I used to, Same with grandkids. They color me pictures or paint pictures. I hang them on my fridge. Right now I have nothing on my fridge. I took it all off, and they're getting older now. So time for the newer ones, they'll make new things, and you don't have to keep everything.
Right. No, you don't have to keep everything.
Yeah.
And that can be hard sometimes for people, but
it is.
I was thinking about sometimes when we talk about clearing the clutter and organizing things, it's easy to get overwhelmed.
Right.
And I totally understand that. So what I use in my own personal method, and what I do when I help people to do this, because I do have some people that I help with their organization, is you start with one thing at a time. For me, I love to start with one area at a time, or one like type of item at a time. For me, like mail. So let's say, you're a mail hoarder. Paper is my kryptonite, honestly. I hate it. I hate mail, hate dealing with mail. So when I say, okay, I need to deal with this, so then I'll do all the mail at once. And that'll be the one thing that I focus on that day. And when that's done, then that feels really good. Or like when you said your closet, okay, well, I'll go through my sweaters.
Yeah.
or, if I feel the gumption of doing my whole closet that day, sure. But, you start with one item, one type of thing, and then you move on to the next. Or let's say you're going to go through your cupboards. I need to go through my coffee cups. We all collect coffee. I collect many coffee cups, and Tracy's giving me coffee cups, and everybody's giving me coffee cups. So that sometimes I'll go through, the coffee cups. Which ones do I love, and which ones can I let go of, so I have more space for the new and beautiful things that people are going to give me, or that I want to bring into my home. Right. What's not serving me anymore, like you said. And so you just start with one small area. Like, let's say you're not comfortable with doing, like, what if you had like 15,000 papers, right? So I'll start with this one section or this one folder, and I'll go through that today. If you can just do, even if you're looking to organize more, 15 minutes, you can do so much work in 15 minutes. It's really incredible. And it'll make such a difference in how you feel, and it will change the energy in that little tiny space, even if it is like one folder of papers.
Especially if you're focused on one thing, like you said, do it in little bites at a time. It really goes fast, and you get a lot done. And once you get in a momentum, you can maybe move on to another thing,
Right.
And I do that with mail too, every day, get the mail, put it on the counter. Pretty soon there's a stack this big.
I have a mail slot. It's the same.
Yeah. So I love to go through that, shred what I don't want and keep what I need, and pretty soon my counter's clean off, and I'm like, wow.
Yeah, it's like a revelation. I can see my counter.
Yeah.
For me, I have a mail slot because it was filling up our counter, and we didn't want that.
Yeah.
So we have like a thing that's on the wall, which is actually great. I kind of love having that.
Yeah.
And then what I did for me is I have a shredder in my living room. So like every day I could take the mail and shred.
Yeah.
My only problem is when my husband starts piling the things on top of the shredder rather than shredding them in the moment. And then I start piling on top of the shredder, and pretty soon we have this giant shred pile. And I was like, man, I put it down here so I could shred it every day, and now there's a pile again. So, we all are a work in progress, no matter how organized you are or what systems you have in place. And so it's just about doing, okay, well, I have 15 minutes. I can just do this one thing and get that done. I accomplished that. And like you said, sometimes the momentum builds, and you're like, pretty soon you've done 5 tasks. You're like, oh, well, that felt pretty good. I didn't think I could get that done today, but I did.
Yeah. It's awesome once you get in the momentum of it. And, of course you're going to leave it go sometimes, but just don't get overwhelmed by it. Take a room at a time, or your desk and then the counter, or, do it in little chunks if you can. And it doesn't take that long once you do it, if you just do it little steps at a time. If you get overwhelmed, go for a walk, do something to change up that energy, clearing that. So I've lived in my house for, I think, like 18 years. Well, pretty soon you have, oh my God, look at all this stuff,
There's so much stuff.
Yeah. So during COVID, when everyone was stuck at home, I did a lot of clearing out, got rid of a lot of stuff. And now it's time to do it again. It's been a couple of years now, and I have more stuff. It accumulates, but do it. It just feels good. You'll be amazed at how good the energy feels when you do it.
Yes.
So
one small thing at a time.
Yeah.
If you're doing the physical organization.
Yep. And for a while when I was starting to declutter, I would do, okay, I need to get rid of 5 things every day. So every day I would take 5 things, put in, and you can start a box, or I do garbage bags for clothes, to take to donate, put a garbage pile, a donate pile, and a whatever pile. Maybe you have kids, and you have a sibling that has kids that are younger than yours, you can put that in, the nephew pile, or the niece and nephew pile. Yeah. And then they can go through it and take what they want and give the rest to somebody else. It's really good to repurpose things and give things to someone that can use them. We don't have to buy things new every time when we want something.
I'm a huge fan of donation, especially if you don't like something or you're done with it, you're like, whatever. it's not garbage.
Right.
There's so many people that would see that as a treasure. And so for me, it's really important. If you donate it, then somebody else can find it and love it too.
And love it.
And that's so fun. It has a new life. It has a second life.
Yeah. Yeah. And even t-shirts that get worn out, I cut them up for rags in the shop, or, you know, you don't have to waste things, and it's less that goes to the landfill.
Yeah. You can reuse all sorts of things in cool ways.
Yeah. So start decluttering today. So that's about the physical things that we want to declutter. Energy is another thing that we can declutter or change up, or, you know, lighten up, I guess.
Right. Even without doing those physical things.
Right. Yeah. Even changing the energy in your space can make it a lot easier to do the physical decluttering.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
100% can help you move forward.
Right. So a few of the things that you can do are sage. This is a sage bundle, and you can burn it and just walk through your house, and kind of, you can use a fan, or even a sheet of paper, or a big feather, or something like that, to just get the smoke. Go in all the corners of your home, all the cupboards, open the cupboards, and do that. I love to do that.
Suggestion though, is if you're going to use a sage bundle, to have something underneath it that's fireproof, like a plate, or a bowl, or an abalone shell is what I use traditionally. Just to make sure that you're not, you know, sending sparks to your floor, melting your carpet, or setting your house on fire. So we suggest that you use that for safety. But yes, lighting the sage bundle, it's wonderful. And something people don't know about sage, not only does it clear the energy spiritually, but it also clears the energy physically. So what is created by all the electronic smog, and from like all of our devices and TVs and Wi-Fi that's surrounding us all the time, it creates a positively charged environment, and those positive ions aren't good for you. And that's what a lot of us are really sensitive to. We might not even realize it, but all of us have some sensitivity to that. And so what the smoke from the sage does is it actually creates negative ions. And what the negative ions do is they combine with the positive ions. They basically pull them in and get rid of them for you. And so it's really nice, because then the air becomes negatively charged, which is good, and it feels good, and it gets rid of all of that smog that's been building up in your home or your space. So not only are you doing a spiritual cleansing of the energy and moving that, but you're also doing a physical cleansing of the energy that a lot of people aren't aware that they're actually doing. #science.
Science nerd.
Science nerd here, alert. Yes. I love it.
Another on that same note is Palo Santo wood. This is a really good thing to use, and it gets deep things like trauma, or, you know, arguments, or anything like that in your home. It will clear that kind of energy. It goes, I feel, a little deeper than sage, but just as good, you know. Either one, it's your preference. I love the smell of Palo Santo wood. Me too. My husband is totally uses it every day, all the time. My nieces and nephews, in fact, say, "Oh, or even my grandkids, you know, oh, Uncle Don's here, or Grandpa's here. I can smell the Palo Santo." He loves it. So, and in fact, our oldest grandson, when he was little, he would do it, and you would stand there, and he would go like this and smudge you. So it's really fun. But it really does change the energy, gets rid of any of that negative or stagnant energy. Doesn't have to be traumatic or anything like that, but any of that stale energy that you want to declutter.
Yes, I love Palo Santo.
Yep, I do too. Really good. Yes. Another thing you can use is a dowsing rod. And this, you know, you can measure the energy of a room or energy of anything really. And if you let it, you know, set the intention that you want it to clear out any negative energy, you can just let it go. and it will turn and turn until the energy is clear. So it usually will go, well, usually it's, counterclockwise to get rid of negative energy, and then clockwise to put good energy in. So another thing you can use, I use the dowsing rod more to measure energy, to see how it's doing, how the energy is in your home or any object. Another thing is a pendulum.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah, I have mine in my pocket.
Okay, I was going to say others we can use my necklace too.
Oh yeah, yeah. So you can, same thing with a pendulum, and you can use anything. You can tie a nut to a string if you want, if you don't have a pendulum, but I like to use crystals. So you can just ask, what is the energy in the room? And it'll just start turning. And of course, it's good energy in our office.
Our office is awesome.
We do a lot of work to keep it good. So, and it's going clockwise, so that's good energy. If it was negative, it could clear that negative energy and then sometimes it'll put good energy back in. If the energy is already good after it's cleared, it will just be done. So let the pendulum do the work and get out of the way of it.
There are whole
don't try to control it
that you can use for pendulum clearing.
Yeah. You can ask questions, and that might be another topic for another day.
Yes, working with pendulums, it can be a really useful thing just to help you with energy, to help you with questions, and connect with your spirit guides and angels and things as well as your higher self, your inner being. And so it's just a tool. It's a useful tool for whatever you want to do with it, really.
Yeah.
It's a blank slate.
Right. Yeah. And if you have an office and maybe they don't want you to burn things in your office, you can use essential oils too. You can make a spray with them. And I use them. We both do on our in our Reiki room where we do energy work. After a client, we'll spray to get rid of or dissipate the things, the emotions and stuff that someone has let go when they're having energy work done to them. You release emotions that are stuck there and things that you don't need emotionally anymore. So if you do some clearing on that energy, it will dissipate it so your next client doesn't pick it up, or so it's just a energy decluttering is what it is. So you can use different kinds of oils for that. There's sage oil, there's I have one called Dragon Fire that gets rid of any kind of deep energy that is maybe from trauma or abuse or things like that. It's just a good thing to use those tools because we don't have to sit in someone else's energy in our workspace or in our home. So clear that out and make it fresh and new, and it really will, you'll really notice a different feel for your space.
They also have Palo Santo essential oil.
Yeah, they do.
Which is great. So making that into a spray, it would be a beautiful one to use in your home or office. Yeah. And it smells great.
It does smell great. Yeah. And it's also good for allergies. And besides the negative energy thing, it's really good for allergies. We'll do a class or a podcast on oils someday too.
Yeah, oils are great. I mean, there's so many things, so many things that we can talk about. We just love so many things, which makes it great for a podcast because then we can tell you about all the things that we love and maybe help you out in the process.
Yeah, so fun. Anything else that you can think of for decluttering?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many options and things that we kind of talked about.
Right.
I feel like let's not overwhelm everybody with all the things, but I would say try some of the stuff that we talked about today. If you have any questions on how to use something or what kind of process to do or the best way to do things, please let us know. Put a comment down in the podcast below and just let us know what your questions are. Or maybe there's a topic that we didn't talk about that you want to learn more about. And for us, there's tons of ways to clear space energetically or spiritually. And there's things that each of us uses to clear spaces for our clients as well, but those are a little bit more specialized. So if you want to know more about that kind of thing, please let us know as well. We'd be happy to talk about it.
Yeah. Another thing I thought of is drumming. You know, if you have a drum, a bongo drum or a native drum, anything like that, you can drum, or a rattle.
Rattles are one of my favorite things to move and break up energy.
Yep. And that's another form of decluttering. You know, you're getting rid of what's not needed anymore. So use those things too.
Yep. Oh, one more thing that I just thought of also goes along with sound. So there are sound clearing that you can do. So there's different like CDs that you can clear the energy of your space.
Yes.
That are quite beautiful to use as well.
Yeah. Ho'oponopono is another thing to declutter.
Ho'oponopono.
Yeah.
We talked about
that on another podcast. So go find that one if you don't know about that and are interested. That's a really good thing. And there's a song that is on, I put that on that other podcast, that you can put it, you know, back when there were CDs, I burned it on a CD and then just let it run all the time when I wasn't home, when I was at work or whatever. I just let that play and the house would feel so good when we got home.
Sometimes you would leave it playing here at the office and I'd come in one day and just, it's playing Ho'oponopono again. Like, look how long that's been going.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes it's on purpose. Sometimes it's happens.
You just forget about it.
You didn't notice.
Yeah, you just forget about it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
So yeah. And you know, on YouTube you can find lots of good frequency music that will help declutter too. So it's not all about physical, you know. So yeah. Play with it, try it out, see how good you feel after you do it.
Yeah, do one thing, do all the things.
Yeah.
I mean, everything will be beneficial to you.
Right. Yeah, so fun. Well, I think that's all we have for today.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone who's been watching our podcast and commenting as well. We appreciate all the comments and the feedback, and we love hearing from you, so feel free to keep letting us know what it is that you want to know and if things have been helpful for you. So thank you. Shout out for all those who are giving us all that information. We're so glad it's being helpful to people that are watching. So thank you so much.
And like and share us. And where can we find you, Carissa?
Yes, you can find me on Facebook at Light of Hope Healing, and then also on our shared Facebook page at Our SoulSpace.
Yep, that's our office page.
And what about you, Tracy?
I'm at Inspired Signals on Instagram and Facebook. Also, my website is inspiredsignals.com.
Yeah. So join us for another podcast next week, or check out one of our pages and things like that. We look forward to hearing from you, and we look forward to seeing you next week for another one.
Absolutely. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.